Hi, I'm Linda Petroni. I'm a team leader here with Thermomix in Sydney, New South Wales. I'd like to take this opportunity to take you on a bit of a tour between the various models that I've worked with in Thermomix with my time here in Sydney. I'd like to give you a little bit of a comparison because I think there's a lot of people out there that want to know the difference between what is a TM31, what is a TM5, what's the difference with this new TM6. It looks a little bit like the TM5. So what I'm hoping to do in this session today is just take you through the different models, give you an idea of some of the changes, improvements as such, and then talk to you also a little bit about the value of having your own personal consultant take you on your journey. All right, so come into my kitchen and let's get started. First of all, I'm going to actually introduce you to my friends. Over here, this is what we call the TM31. If best described as the, if we had to do a comparison to mobile phones or cars, it's the old Nokia versus our wonderful new iPhones. It's the Datsun 200B probably versus the Ferrari. So it's a Trojan. It's a really strong machine. It's been around for a long time. I've got customers that are still using their 31 and haven't had an issue, and it's still kicking on, close to, 10, 15 years. And so very strong, robust TM31. The difference here is you can see from just at a glance that the actual design has changed, much more streamlined as we go all the way across to the 6. This looks sort of very squarish, and all the modes on here are manual. So I'm going to explain a little bit about the 31, then I'm going to go into the 5, then I'm going to go into the 6. Hope that helps. Okay, so our TM31, I started with the TM31. I started as a consultant back in 2013, and I got myself one of these, and I still remember doing my first cooking demonstration and the amazement from some of the customers that were sitting in front of me at the time. They were awe-inspired that this one machine could actually blend, chop, cook, steam. It was an all-in-one device. And back in 2013, there was very few of that type of appliance available. So let me just show you. It's powered on, so it's got a button on the front. This is all touch screen technology, the other ones, as you can see, whereas this one here is still, it's showing buttons and dials. You've got temperature control that sits at the front here, and you can start at 37 degrees and up to just over 100 there. You've got integrated scales on here. However, the scales work in a 5 gram increment, not now new ones work in a 1 gram increment. So this is a 5 gram increment scale. You have the ability to use the steaming function. So steaming in Thermomix is called varoma. It's a term of 2 words combined, vapor and aroma. And this is what we call our varoma dish. Now, it's a lot smaller in the TM31 than it is in the upcoming models. It's got less capacity in the actual bowl size. So as we've gone up, we've slightly increased capacity as well. So a steaming device that sits on the top gives you multi-layer, the ability to do multi-layer cooking. The other thing that you'll notice here is the dial is a manual dial. It takes you up to speed 10. You still have some similar features that we have in our newer models with a kneading mode, the turbo mode, and a reverse mode. So this is where we introduce some of those basic modes. The lid comes on and off manually. So it's a twist turn. People with arthritis and things like that might find that this is a bit difficult to turn. So therefore, with the automatic arms, that was something that was introduced, and I've noticed that a couple of customers of mine have really enjoyed that as opposed to trying to get this lid on and off. The other thing you'll see immediately is the measuring cup that sits on the top, otherwise known in Thermomix world as the MC, measuring cup, MC. It used to just sit quite loosely, and you could sit it in both directions, up or down. And as consultants, we found this a bit of a chore because every time you took the actual lid off and you tipped it upside down, out fell the measuring cup. That's gone. We don't have that in the newer models. The other thing that they replaced is, over time, you would have seen an opportunity to get yourself new seals. So there's a new green seal that comes now with the TM31 as well, securing that lid a little bit tighter. And the seals on the old model should really be changed quite frequently. There's a user manual on our Thermomix website, www.thermomix.com.au, that discusses the seals on the TM31. So if you haven't had a new seal on your lid of your TM31, I encourage you to go onto the website and just have a look into that. All right, so the other thing that you'll notice with the 31, the release function there, the basket inside is just a standard basket, no lid. That's changed as we go across, so you'll see that as well. A blade, single blade still, and the whole Thermomix pulls apart, still the same way, pulls apart to wash and to clean. So that's something to keep in mind. That's all there as well. All right, now it comes with a butterfly. The butterfly is for whisking and aerating, slow stirring with some things like risottos and things like that. So that's still part of that original model. So that's our 31. So if we had to adjust time and temperature and stuff like that, it's all very manual, okay? The capacity of the jug is slightly smaller. You can see in comparison to these two here. So all in all, it doesn't have the capacity as the other two models. So I'm just going to move this one aside, and now we're going to focus on the comparison between the TM5 and the TM6. Okay, so at a glance, this is our TM5. And as I said to you, when you look at two of them side by side, and if you really didn't understand these differences, you probably think you're looking at the same unit. Initially, you can see that our display screen is smaller and this one here is larger. The touch screen technology is still there. So touching the screen, again, touching the screen, but with the larger screen, it is a lot clearer to operate. The other thing that you'll notice with the early release of the TM5, again, they still had a loose measuring cup. So we still had that problem again with the measuring cup dropping out. The seals, however, were now coming attached to the lid, so there was no need to actually replace the seal so much. However, if there was damage to your inner seal, you were replacing the whole lid. Inside, you still had a basket, very similar design to the TM31, no lid on that basket as well. And we also had just the one blade, and again, this pulled apart to go into the dishwasher. All our Thermomix parts, by the way, I don't know if you've been told this, but everything pulls apart and can go in the dishwasher. I've been doing this, as I said, since 2013. All my bits and pieces have been going in the dishwasher. No problems there. Obviously, the base units that are connected to power, we don't put those in the dishwasher. All right, so one blade again, and you've got the use of your butterfly to assist you with a slightly different design, as you can see. So that also will assist you with slow stirring, creating meringues and egg whites and things like that. So again, butterflies come back in. On the screen, the other thing here is that everything is integrated. So the scales are integrated. The modes that you saw there, which were buttons on the TM31, they're now part of that sort of display screen. So you actually touch the screen to get inside it. You do now have what's called, on the early release of this TM5, you would have received these little recipe chips. They had these unique serial numbers, and then over time they were loaded up onto our recipe platform called Cookadoo. So have a check out the Cookadoo recipe platform. If you're in Australia, www.cookadoo.com.au. That's cookido.com.au. Now, the recipe chips can be loaded up on that platform, and then because you purchase the chips, you own those recipe collections, and they're part of yours. The advancement to this particular model over time was the introduction to what we call the cook key. Now, I don't have one here, unfortunately. It's being used as a demonstration today, but it's a little Wi-Fi, extended Wi-Fi chip. You can find a little bit more about that on the official Thermomix website. So if you go back to www.thermomix.com.au and type in the word cook-key, it'll tell you a little bit about how you can bring your TM5 machine up a level and connect it to Wi-Fi and have access to recipes. Still quite clunky in the sense that you have to go onto the website, you have to load up the recipes, then you've got to come over here and you've got to synchronize the screen so that the recipe will actually then synchronize, find it on the screen, and then you can proceed. So still a great solution because it actually introduced us to recipes and step-by-step cooking on a screen. But again, we were moving up, and the company is constantly in development, and this was just one of those things that we saw that was introduced as the new models came along to improve things. So that's your TM5. Still has a Varoma. So again, the capacity of the Varoma hadn't really increased as such, but sat on the top here, gave you that ability to do the multi-level cooking. You did have the larger jug though, so your capacity to cook has slightly increased in the jug, but otherwise, yeah, it's fairly much, you know, the same sort of cooking device until we start going into the magical TM6. So I'm now going to take you across from the TM5 across to the TM6. And we've got some wham bam features in the 6. So just going to move this one across now so you can get a feel. All right, now our TM6, as I said, this is the Ferrari of the group. I was a bit blown away when I first got the TM6, I've got to say. At first glance, I thought, oh, what's the difference? How am I ever going to support customers understanding the differences between the two models? What was quite interesting is as soon as I got it on my bench and I started with the touch screen technology, I started seeing my recipes directly on the screen. It was live, it was interfaced, it connected with my phone, my laptop, my iPad. You know, I could be anywhere on the road, and because I'd done some menu planning, I'd have access to my recipes when I walked in and just started pressing next, next, next. I could do shopping lists, I could connect it to Woolworths online, my ingredients for my recipes would rock up to my front door. This was all a game changer, you know, for busy mum like myself. All of those little added features and having everything into the one unit was fantastic. So all of a sudden we had this beautiful large screen. We had recipes that we could touch. We've now got interface videos and tutorials on the screen. There's, you know, lots more recipes. You've got access now to countries from all around the world, you know, 75,000 plus recipes at your fingertips. The ability to save recipes, search with filters. You know, in our house, we've got people that have egg intolerances or gluten-free. And so I can pop filters in there now and just search for recipes that are in tune with my needs there. So I love that aspect of it. I can save cookbooks, I can save just recipes, I can create my own folders like an iTunes playlist, but a Cookadoo playlist. It's fantastic. I've still got the ability to use the manual mode. So all machines give you the ability, if you've got like your own recipe, Nana's apple pie, and you know how to make it, or you just want to mix up a milkshake and things like that, you've still got that capacity to use this machine in manual mode. So you don't have to follow recipes. That is the optional extra. And that's really, at the end of the day, you know, up to you how you're going to operate it. Things like the reverse mode now are all inbuilt in the front screen. But where the real magic happens is we swipe across, and it's a bit like a dating app, I always say, you go left and right and see what you can get. But if we go across this way, you can see we've got all these amazing new modes now. So we've got things like, I'll just read them out to you in first glance. There's fermentation, there's slow cooking, there's sous vide cooking. We've got a potato peeler. There's a blade guard that goes in and peels and washes your potatoes now, which is absolutely amazing. You've got an egg boiler mode. So your eggs, you know, you want your whites cooked, but your yolk soft. We can actually operate the machine and lock it into there. There's a kettle mode. So if you want to boil water because you've got some beautiful organic teas or something and you need to keep it at 75 degrees, it turns into your kettle. You can warm up last night's meal. You can do thickening like bechamel sauce, hollandaise sauces, gravies from last night's roast. The scales is the key selling function. We've now gone from 5 gram increments to a 1 gram increment. So super sensitive and fabulous if you're a baker. Okay, so that 1 gram increment was a real game changer too. You've still got the dough, the turbo, and just a basic blending mode. Where it really comes into itself now is it's got a self-cleaning mode. So in previous models, you may have heard from a consultant and they said, oh, just stick it on turbo, give it a bit of a slush around with some water and give it a bit of a clean. All good and well, but now we've got a specific mode for it. So if you're working with high heat and you're caramelizing, or you've got something really sticky in there, or something that's stuck to the bottom, or whatever it is that you're cooking, you've now got a cleaning mode that you can actually work with. Pop in some water, vinegar, soap, whatever it actually requires or tells you on the screen. You've got the ability to clean after you've used it for dough mode. There's a universal clean, and there's a fat and caramel clean. And if you've been browning, because now with our high heat mode in the TM6, you can use a browning mode as well. So it actually really gives that Thermomix a good clean. The other thing that I like is, as I've shown you with the 2 lids on the 31 and the 5, the difference here with the 6 is they've introduced this amazing new measuring cup that has these 2 little sort of, like, I call them tongues basically on the bottom of the cup, and they sit nicely into the lid. So when I tip my lid upside down, no longer does my measuring cup fall out. And I tell you, that was another game changer. The other thing is the spatula that comes with the TM6. It's now got a softer touch, which is lovely to sort of get into those corners. The basket itself has slightly changed. It now comes with a lid, and that sort of supports you with so that you don't overfill it, but also supports with things like sous vide cooking and stuff like that. We've still got the same one blade does it all, but underneath we've got a little catch function underneath here that now supports you unable to pop the Thermomix jug back without everything locked into place properly. Now that's really helped a lot of people, because in the previous models, we had what was called a spill, where I call it in my house, the helpful husband used to come along, thinks that he put it all back in place properly, but he's left the blades out. And then I would come along, and it's happened to me. I'd come along in the morning, make my morning smoothie, pour my milk in, and then watch the whole machine flood. You can no longer, that does not longer happen, because now we've got this lock-in function. So basically no one can put it all back together unless it's all locked in under the base. So again, a fabulous new function and a feature in the TM6. The other thing is the scales still nice and sensitive, but as I said, the 1 gram increment, and they've got a little, what they call a cockroach guard at the back here as well. So if you've had problems in the past with insects and things like that, maybe you're in a rural area, that sometimes is going to help as well. So that's been a new design feature as well. Nothing is now stuck onto the side, so there's no chips, no cookie, all of that is gone. Everything is integrated, as I said, and everything is live. So whatever you're doing on your phone, your iPad, the machine, everything is actually synchronized at the same time. So again, the lid seal is fixed, that's in there. The butterfly, again, comes with it for the whipping. Another added feature part that you get with the TM6 is this thing here, and this is called the splash guard. This sits basically, you remove your measuring cup, that sits on top there, and there will be certain recipes that call for the high heat function. So it's searing, sizzling, those type of things. It's just allowing the steam to escape, and obviously when it's splashing and it's sizzling like that, it's not going to affect you, but it's also going to keep your kitchen nice and clean. So in certain recipes, you'll be asked to pop a splash guard in. The other thing that you'll notice is that the aroma has slightly changed. It is a slightly larger capacity in our TM6. The lids are now solid. All of this stuff is BPA free. And again, that'll enable you to sit on the top and give you that multi-level function cooking as well. So, there are some added benefits to going from, our good old TM31 all the way up to our 6. You'll really notice the difference. And even between our 5 and our 6, I can guarantee you, those of you that have got an early model TM5, you probably really want to start asking your consultant to come around and show you the TM6. Now, the other thing to remember, there's lots of online classes that are available. Our group runs a class at 4 p.m. every Saturday, and we feature various themed classes, recipes, that, you know, it's a real mixed bag, so we give everybody an opportunity. There's also the ability to go to a quite specific TM6 class, which talks about all those different modes and features that will actually really give you a good insight into the machine. And there's also a recording that's floating around that I could share with you as well. So I guess the key thing here is that obviously somebody like myself, being a consultant, I'm a little bit more knowledgeable on the products. I can actually give you the detailed insight into how to make the best use of the investment that you've made with your Thermomix. Yes, you can buy a Thermomix online, secondhand or from our website, but you will miss that opportunity to have that hand-holding personal introduction with a Thermomix consultant that's going to guide you through, tell you the best ways to use it, give you all the tips on the safety features, and ensure that you've actually got that connection point ongoing in your Thermomix journey. We're really here as a complementary resource. It's included in your price, so I would highly encourage you to connect with a consultant. If you are buying or you don't have a consultant, you can request a consultant for your area or a consultant that maybe specialises in your dietary needs. So please do reach out and contact our support centre, or when you're making your inquiry online, make sure that you're reaching out and filling in the details about how you'd like to be supported. I really can't encourage you enough. The consultant journey and how we can support you is, you know, is paramount to making sure that it doesn't end up in a cupboard underneath the kitchen sink and that you're actually using it all the time. Because once you get one of these on your kitchen bench, you will use it all the time and you will really reap the benefit from a time perspective, you know, cost saving perspective, and just that convenience, you know. The other thing I'd like to say is we're always looking for new consultants. So if you're like me, you know, back 8-9 years ago, I was at home in between jobs. I looked like I was going to find something new to do with myself, and I decided to become a Thermomix consultant. Now, I only came on board to earn my Thermomix and I was going to be out the door, and yet I'm still here. It's a great company to work for. You've got great support, everything's online. Our whole message and the way in which we deliver the service and support with Thermomix is now very different. And due to the COVID pandemic, what we've had to do is bring a lot of our classes and our instructional videos, etc., all online to support you in a safe environment. You can still have those face-to-face cooking experiences in your home with your friends, but we also encourage you to book the online events as well. So that's all from me. Thank you for your time. Again, my name's Linda Petroni. I'm here in Sydney. If you'd like to reach out and ask me more questions, please do, or go onto our website and hook up with your own consultant at www.thermomix.com.au. That's www.thermomix.com.au. Thanks for listening. I hope you got something out of this comparison today. Thanks. Bye for now.